Today we are going to be going over all of my custom created swing trading strategies. There are 4 of them and they are all awesome. So let's get into it. Strategy number 1 is our runners swing trade strategy. You're going to hear me refer to runners a lot when talking about my strategies. Essentially, it just means that the stock is already making a big move, and then I'm looking to get in with whatever the strategy is, looking for continuation, right? And I'm going to make use in all of my runners strategies. I'm going to make use of this percent change indicator. And for this one, the percent change, so the average change over the last 14 bars, must be over 30 for 3 bars in a row. And as you're looking here at this trade on GNS, Golf November Sierra, from January of 2023, you have a percent change where you're actually not going to be able to see it. Let me move my big head. You still might not be able to see it because these numbers are going to be really small, but just trust me, you have a percent change of 42 on this bar, a percent change of 67 on this bar, percent change of 64 on this bar. That's going to make it appear on the scanner because, of course, as always, all of my custom strategies also have their own associated custom scanners because there's no point in having an amazing strategy if you can't find the stocks to trade that fit that strategy, right? So anyway, you end up getting in this trade at the close of this day, at the close of the day where the percent change is over 30 for the 3rd time in a row. You end up getting in, and of course, on this instance, perfectly timed. You get a little like jump in volume on GNS here for a few bars in a row for these 3 bars, which triggers. Then you get some kind of news or something dropped on this day. Obviously, you get a massive run, and on a $10,000 position in this one trade, you end up making $83,000, getting in around 56 cents, and eventually getting stopped out just over $5. So the exit of this strategy, you'll notice a couple of different colored lines on this chart. If I scroll down, this salmon colored line is your hard stop, and that is ATR, so average true range, subtracted from the entry price. So if you get in and the price goes down, you'll get stopped out. This second cyan colored line up here is once again average true range, but it's subtracted from the closing price of the previous bar, so that it is always following the price action of the ticker as it moves up like this, right? And luckily, it looks like on none of these days, even though it got really close, it did not quite touch this cyan colored line. And you'll say, Trey, well, when you get stopped out here, it also didn't touch the cyan colored line. What gives? Well, there is also I already have it on. There is also a catch where if the percent change drops under -10, so if the change over the last 14 bars goes below -10%, if I move my big head back over, you will see that on this day, the percent change does close at -29, right there, -29%. Therefore, we end up getting stopped out there as well. Let's load in now my runners swing trade scanner, because this is actually my runners day trading scanner, which we're not talking about day trading strategies today. Subscribe to the channel. That'll be a video coming soon. But if I load my runners swing trader scanner in and we just click through some examples, let's look at the P&Ls of the strategy. So Works actually down 9K. It actually kind of got owned on this trade here. Oh, there was a massive gap down. Bit of a shame. Got a little bit owned on that stock. Guess what? Hate to tell you this, gonna happen sometimes, especially when trading low float stocks. Crap like that's gonna happen. But still, remember on GNS, up 80 grand, you'd be okay with that happening every now and again, right? LICY actually currently in a trade and up $8,300. These are all $10,000 positions, by the way, if I haven't mentioned that yet. SMR currently in a trade, was flying really, really well. Actually, this stock will have stopped out at 866. This stock would have gotten stopped out at 866. It's a limitation of ThinkorSwim that I don't think it'll paint that until the close of today's bar, but it will paint it up at this price because that's where the line was. So actually going to end up making a little over like $4 or $5 grand, whatever it would be in this trade when it actually does wait for the next bar to close and paint its exit. GERN down $4,000. HMY really, really nice, up $32,000. VERI really, really nice, up $43,000. Looks like it caught a really sick one here. Yeah, from 297 up and got stopped out at 1489. And here's an example of what I mean, right? It touches the blue line on this day, so it gets stopped out, but it doesn't paint it until the close of the next day. Once again, just a little limitation with ThinkorSwim coding, but I have, manipulated the code in the right kind of ways that it still gets out at the right price, right? You see it's not cheating. Even though it bounces this day, it's still getting stopped out at this price where it touched the blue line. So there's a good example. But once again, up $43,000 on this, up $32,000 on HMYs, up over $80,000 on GNS. And yes, sometimes it also loses, but obviously the winners largely outclassing the losers. Let's go to the next strategy. If you are interested in these strategies and in their associated scanners, they are all available for download, as well as many other codes from my website, daytradingstrategies.net. There's a link at the top of the description. We'll see you over there. Strategy number 2, we're not going to spend as much time on because it's very similar. It's also a runner's swing trade strategy, but this one is built specifically for large cap stocks. So it's the exact same strategy, except the only difference is, of course, large cap stocks don't move as much. So instead of needing 3 bars in a row where the percent change is over 30, the percent change only needs to be over 5 for 3 bars in a row. Once again, you just don't get those insane 30% moves on stocks like Nvidia, Amazon, Google, Home Depot, whatever it may be. They're not doing that. So same strategy, just looking for smaller moves. Let's just go ahead and quickly click through some examples. I always like to look at Nvidia. This one is obviously kind of cheating because it's Nvidia. Every strategy's up a ton of money, but up nearly $200,000 on Nvidia, and you can see the statistics up here. One more caveat. This strategy is coded with a $25,000 position rather than a $10,000 position because, of course, once again, being a lot less volatile, you can afford to take larger positions on large cap stocks, right? And just like any of my strategies, when you download these, in the input, you can change your position size to be whatever you want it to be. So you only want to take $5,000 positions. All you have to do is change that, and you can do that within any of these strategies I'm talking about. But let's click through some of the ones that are on the Runners Swing large cap scanner right now, so that we can see some examples of current trades. SOUN is in currently from 563, doing very well, up $42,000. Tilray, wow, up $170,000. A lot of that comes from this crazy move back here. It actually happened to be in Tilray when it got some amazing news and went flying. I guess the marijuana hype back here in February of 2021. But that's the beauty of continuation trading. And it's why I love continuation trading so much. And it's because it allows you to capture these giant moves. And I've captured a handful of giant moves in my trading career. One of my best was AMC. It wasn't this strategy, but I was in AMC after its earnings back here. I got in and I rode this out. I also did a similar on Fubo. Once again, not this strategy, but I got in after earnings gap close. That's how I was trading back then, if you can't tell. It had an earnings gap up and then closed the gap. I got in and I captured this entire move. Got stopped out a little bit on the way down, but it's why I love continuation trading. It allows you to capture these giant moves. Anyway, Nvidia actually is on the scanner. It's actually entered Nvidia at 466, and you know how that's going, so great. NU is also entered at 989, up over 12. Just doing really, really well here. I'd actually would like to find a losing example. I promise you, I know all the ones I'm clicking through right now are green. I never want anyone to think my strategies only win. Okay, here's a losing example. CIFR down $9,500. So that's the runner's large cap swing trade strategy. Once again, much like the first one we talked about, just with smaller parameters for when the stock is eligible to be on the scanner and for the strategy to enter. Strategy Strategy number 3 is a simple strategy and one that a lot of people use, but I wanted to create a easily customizable code around it. What it is combining RSI, the relative strength index, and the moving average. By default, the moving average length is set to 500, the buy RSI is set to 50, the sell RSI is set to 30. If you can't tell, the strategy will enter stocks that are above the moving average and above the buy RSI value and will get stopped out below the sell RSI value. But the beauty of this code, well, first off, let's just click through some examples. If we just click through some of these same stocks, actually, Tilray, not great. SOUN hasn't taken a trade. NU, nice. NDAQ, nice. RIG, nice. ATMU, it hasn't taken a trade. CIFR, a little down. Google, really nice. But the beauty and why I love this code so much is it's great for testing, right? You can come in and, well, let's look at like a 200 moving average and a buying if the RSI gets above 60 and stopping if the RSI breaks below 50 instead. And let's make it an exponential moving average. All you have to do is come in and change those things from the input of the code, and you can immediately see how the results change. It's just a really, really great code for finding the best moving averages and RSI values that fit your trade style. So you can implement this into your own trade styles, into your own strategies, and figure out how to optimize codes that work the best for you a lot faster if you have access to a strategy like this. Not to mention, once again, just how well the strategy itself works. So don't let anyone tell you that trading is more complicated than just an RSI and a moving average, because it doesn't always have to be. Let's get to the last strategy. This last strategy is really fun. It's different than the previous 3 strategies we just talked about. The previous 3 strategies were all focused on continuation trading because that's the way that I see the market best. It's the way that I trade. So it's typically going to be the types of strategies that I create. But I set myself a challenge actually on a video on this channel to create a reversal trade strategy. And that's what strategy number 4 is here, my reversal swing trade strategy. And a fun thing with this strategy is I have to come in and I have to go to my global strategy settings down here, and I allow up to 10 entry orders in the same direction. I have the strategy set to only taking a $2,500 position per order. That means if it ends up getting into the maximum amount, it can end up in a $25,000 position. As you see here, it starts entering the dip, starts entering the dip, starts entering the dip, starts entering the dip. You're in what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You actually do take the full 10 here, and then you get out on the little bounce that it ends up making there. So the reversal strategy is focused on looking for stocks that have strength, stocks that are running and were running really large, and then end up coming in on a hard dip. But on reversals, it's really, really hard to time the exact bottom. It's basically impossible to always time the exact bottom. So I built it to scale into positions like that, and then to just look for a small bounce on the RSI to get out. So the RSI is your sell signal here. I believe it's when the RSI gets up and over 40. Actually, let me look into my own code here for just a second. Yeah, sorry about that. I had to remember the exact values of my own code. So essentially what this is doing is it's looking for stocks above the 200 SMA that have an RSI below 40. That's where it's entering. And then once the RSI, so once a bar closes, RSI above 45, that's where it exits. That's what it's looking to do. That's what's appearing on this scanner. Stocks that, once again, above the 200 simple moving average, but below 40 on the RSI, scales in, scales in, scales in, just looking for any little bounce to lock profit, any little bounce to lock profit. That's a good trade theory understanding and conversation around the difference between continuation trading and reversal trading. You'll notice in my continuation strategies, remember that GNS trade we talked about at the very beginning where it took it from like 50 cents all the way up to like $8 and then ended up getting stopped out just above $5 or something like that? That's something you can do with continuation type strategies. You look for the bigger moves. On reversal strategies, like when you're buying weakness like this, you really want to be getting out quick. The stock is weak, right? You are buying you're buying weakness intentionally. So as soon as you get any amount of strength, you really want to be locking that profit. Good example here and here on Pinterest, and it's currently scaling into another position on Pinterest right now. We'll have to see how that one works out. But let me just continue clicking through some more examples here. ABT. doing really nice. SIG doing really nice. I thought this was like SIG, like the gun manufacturer, but it's a jeweler company. Up a little over nearly $2,000, not bad. Sprint just taking, Sentinel 1, this is also not Sprint, taking its first trade up $100 right now. KOPN up $14,000. ARCC up over $4,000. I'm actually looking for a losing example. Here we go. X, United States Steel. Here's a losing example, down $2,700. And obviously here, this gives me a chance to show you the stop loss, which is nothing. There is no stop loss on this strategy. If the trade loses, it still waits for a bounce above 45 RSI to get out. So you always get a little like rebate on the end of trades, even if they're losing. There's no such thing as a stock that like never sees above the 45 RSI ever again. Like, what's a really bad example? Like AMC got freaking crushed, right? But I mean, even look, while AMC was getting crushed, actually, funnily enough, the reversal strategy did okay here, but the reversal strategy actually profited on AMC. But even when it gets crushed, like here, like, oh my God, Trey, when are you going to get out of this trade? What's going on? You're going to get a rebate. It's going to bounce. It's going to happen. Everything moves in waves. Nothing goes straight down or straight up. And you'll also notice in this example, it only buys once, because once it gets below the 200 SMA, it stops buying. So eventually, like at some point, it will stop adding. Like if the stock gets crushed, it won't just keep adding, because eventually the stock will get below the 200 SMA. So you'll stop adding. So you're just in your little $2,500 position here chilling. When you get your bounce, you get out, you eat your small loss, and you move on. And you've still made a lot of money on this ticker because of how well it worked beforehand, right? So that's the reversal strategy, one a little bit different than the previous three. And that is all of my current swing trade strategies. I will, of course, continue adding to this list, updating the codes. I'm always putting new things on my website. Once again, if you're interested, which you made it to the end of the video, obviously you are, make sure you go check out daytradingstrategies.net. There'll be a link in the top of the description. Just go down there and click it. We also covered a lot of the associated scanners with the strategies from today, also available for download over on the website. I've also made a video already covering every single custom indicator that I've made, in which there are 17 of them. If you're interested in that video, I'll put it on the outro screen next. But on the way out, hit the like button, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you all in the next one.
Trading stocks. He talks about trading stocks. It's important for you Americans and other international individuals to learn about stocks.